Christina Bobb is an attorney and advisor to former President Trump. Fred Tisi is a former federal prosecutor. Welcome to you both. So we have a legal panel standing by. Christina, we'll start with you. What happens next based on this contempt charge for Merrick Garland?
Well, you said it exactly right. We have to see if the Department of Justice is going to prosecute the Attorney General, which seems very unlikely. But you have to wonder, why aren't they willing to turn over the audio? Congress already has the transcript, supposedly, of that conversation. They just want to check the audio and make sure that it matches. And so if the transcript is right, why are they afraid to turn over the audio? I think there's a bigger cover-up going on that absolutely needs to be investigated. And we'll see what the DOJ does with it, but I don't think they're going to do much.
Yeah, the AG says, and the AG says they've released enough information. They've been compliant on many, many levels. They have the Republicans have the House has transcripts, but they want the audio, and that's where they stop short of. Attorney General Garland is speaking out about that vote. In a statement, we have that. Garland says, quote, "It is deeply disappointing that this House of Representatives has turned a serious congressional authority into a partisan weapon. Today's vote disregards the constitutional separation of powers, the Justice Department's need to protect its investigations, and the substantial amount of information we have provided to the committees." Fred, your thoughts on it?
Well, that's an interesting comment. I find it almost rich. I went back and checked. He didn't make a similar comment when Mr. Bannon was being held in contempt and being kind of hauled off to jail. Look, here's the bottom line, and President Trump is right, all right? This has got to stop. This lawfare stuff has just got to stop, and the Democrats have to stop doing it, and the American people don't want to see it. And for Merrick Garland to come out and now say this is a political weapon, like, look in the mirror, sir. I mean, it's just... And President Biden wants to run for president. That's fine. But the American people have a right to hear his voice on a tape being interviewed by a federal prosecutor in connection with an investigation of a crime. Why should they not be allowed to hear that?
That is what Republicans are wanting. It's been dismissed by Democrats as a political move and could be used in a partisan way. House Speaker Mike Johnson, however, defending the vote by the majority, saying it was the right move. Let's listen.
Look, we did our job on the contempt, and I think it sends an important message. We're defending Article 1 and our authority for oversight, and we have to do that. We'll see what happens next, but I mean, the House has to do its work, and I'm pleased with the outcome.
And again, Christina, before this vote actually took place, it was uncertain whether or not Republicans would be enough on board to actually hold him in contempt. What does this tell you about how the Speaker is sort of guiding the Republicans in the House that they were able to get this through?
Well, I'll give them credit for the win on this one. They absolutely needed to do this. And Merrick Garland's statement that the Department of Justice has to be able to protect their investigations and they don't want to be able, they don't want to be forced to disclose investigations. Let's remember, the investigation is closed. They chose not to prosecute Joe Biden for his possession of classified documents. So this isn't even open. What Congress is doing is their job, providing oversight of the executive branch, and Merrick Garland is trying to shirk any accountability by the American people and by the American Congress to make sure that they actually did their job correctly. They closed an investigation into the current president of the United States for actions he took prior to being president, and they're already trying to prosecute the former president for the exact same actions, relatively speaking. So it's very important that Congress has access to this, and Merrick Garland's idea that they somehow are immune from oversight is laughable.
And you've got to remember, too, again, this is when President Biden was vice president. He wasn't even president at the time, yet holding on to these classified documents. And the investigation is closed, and all you're left with is, again, Her's assessment that he is an elderly man with a poor memory, not able to stand trial. Essentially, you would just have to take Her's word for it. So they're trying to get the audio tapes to understand what really happened behind closed doors, and the DOJ is doing everything possible to stop that. Fred, final thoughts to you.
Once again, if that's the reason why he wasn't prosecuted, the American people have the right to hear that. I mean, I think it's just obscene that the Democrats say that that's a political move. Just because the tape may hurt President Biden doesn't make it political. It makes it relevant for the American people to be able to hear it, to make their decision in November.